Welcome to the Rusted Garden. This is my community plot and the start of my community plot series for 2018. A lot of people have said, where have you been? It's mid-June. Where's the community plot? It's been here, but it's been swamped. We had a problem here with piping that I think was close to here because this just stayed so soaked that when I walked on the other side on the mulch, I actually sank down. If it wasn't that, I think it was a combination of issues. We also had tons and tons of rain and everything seems to drain this way. So as I walk through the garden, I'm going to show you what water problems look like and explain how you can combat that if you're in a low water area and your ground stays too wet. Talk to you about what is growing, fix that up, weed everything, and just show you the transformation and give you a lot of tips on the way. So example number one. As we go through, you're going to see healthier tomatoes. For instance, I've got tomatoes in containers. They're doing really well. Got to clean them up a little bit. Here's the problem. Look how tiny this pepper is. And it was planted at least 4 weeks back, if not longer. There's a roulette down there. You can't even really see. Here is a tomato growing terribly. Too much water. The ground is just too saturated. I can't use these beds anymore. I have to come up with a strategy. So I'm going to build them up. One strategy is certainly use containers. Look how well the tomatoes are doing. Got to fix them up a little bit. Coming over here, here's a higher raised bed. That one's been planted, doing extremely well. You can also use containers with the bottoms cut out to raise up the ground in case you're having water issues. So definitely I have water issues now. Over time, the wood has rotted and broke down. Got to raise the bed up. I'm using these metal frames, these brackets from Shirley's Simple Shelving to build a raised bed. I'm going to just simply take the wood that I have over there, slide these brackets onto it, or actually slide the wood into the brackets, and I'll have a perfect frame. You can check that out at her shop at www.shirleysimpleshelving.com. A real easy way to build raised beds without having to use any screws or nails or anything like that. Here's another setup for raising up the bed. That tomato plant's doing pretty well. Got to clean that up. But generally you can see the tomatoes that are in the containers are doing well. And this side of the bed over here on the right is a little bit higher than the side I just came from. Those tomatoes are doing okay. So let me get this cleaned up. Just get it in a little bit of shape. I'll give you a tour and we'll talk about ways to really take care of different problems you find in the garden. So it only took me about 10 minutes to set this up. You can go to Home Depot, get an 8-foot board, 10-foot board, ask them to cut it in half for you so you don't even have to do any cutting. Bring the boards back, pick up these different frames, brackets from ShirleySimpleShelving.com, and you can set yourself up a raised bed. So these are really set up, I think, for 8-inch boards, 10-inch boards, which is perfect for my area. This is plenty of a height to raise my bed to take care of the water problem that I'm having over here. Just put the bracket on. You might need to tap it in and then line it up with the other board and slide it in. That's all you need to do. This is solid to set up a raised bed. I'll complete the other side and show you what you can even get bigger frames there and raise your bed up even higher. And if you need to, it looks like this is pretty secure. I'm not going to need to do it, but there's a place right there you can see it if you need to drop a screw in just to secure it a little bit. But I like this system, really easy to set up, and the benefit, I believe, is as time goes on, when these boards rot out, like the ones that I just had to remove, you can just take out the problematic board, put in another one very easily. This way you don't have to go through and take out nails or screws, and it doesn't work out. But I like that I can just replace as I need to, and I think that will save me some money in the long run. Alright, let's get to staking up these tomatoes and cleaning up the rest of the garden. So I got a lot done. Let me show you what I've cleaned up. And my first tip for you is when you have a big space that needs a lot of work, make sure you take care of the plants that are already planted first. This way, if you run out of time, you don't get to the things that you want to do, like maybe some weeding and planting new plants, but the plants that are growing have gotten the attention that they need. I also think it's a good idea to plant some lavender, sage, flowers in your garden because that will bring in pollinators. And it's just a great way to get more yield on your cukes, your zooks, cucumbers, squash, all those plants. I'm not going to clean up this bed today. I'm out of time. I'll just leave that as is. That's going to have to be raised in some capacity. But I did clear out all the weeds in the containers. Those are 2 All-America Selection winners, doing well. Pruned out the bottoms of my tomatoes, staked them up. Again, weeded that. Put this raised bed together real quickly. I'm not going to throw wood chips in there. That's all going to get filled with dirt and different amendments. I'll do that in a different video. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you'll see how I set all this up. Really cleaned up this area. All the tomatoes have been taken care of. Pruned out 4 inches from the bottom. You always want to take out some of the bottom growth slowly over time. That allows for better air circulation. You can see that they're doing really well. Here's the area that I'll get to shortly. This is where I'm going to raise the beds using the containers, and I just want to show you. The containers all have nice large holes in them. These containers came from neighbors. They're at least 12 inches across, 12 inches deep, probably a little bit wider. But ask your friends, ask your neighbors for any containers that they have, because you can repurpose them. So this is all going to become a raised bed. I'm going to do some planting in there, I'll show you that. But just like this, I've been growing peppers in there for years. Bottoms cut out and they do really, really well. Cleaned this up, weeded it. They're all going to get fed probably a fish emulsion today. Got in there, cleaned that out, brought up the 2 tomato plants. Those are Asian red beans. Tied them up a little bit better, wrapped them around each other so they weren't getting over to the tomato plants in other places. But you can see that I've taken care of the space pretty well. Now I want to get some cucumbers in here, some more tomatoes in the ground, but I'll show you how I set up this basically in case you want to get started. But again, in another video, I will go through and completely set up these containers. So again, the bottoms of these are cut out. You want the root systems to grow into the ground. So we're going to add in some peat moss. We're also going to get to spraying. We'll finish up with me spraying the tomatoes, taking care of them. So take out some of the dirt from last year. Add in peat moss. You always want to add in cocoa coir or peat moss. It will retain water, loosens up your soil. Just mix it in a little bit. We're going to mix it deeper in a second. Since this hasn't been used since last year, any organic fertilizer, about 2 tablespoons, sprinkle it in. I recommend staying around a 5.55 NP and K. If it's a little bit higher, a little bit lower, that's perfectly fine. These are going to get watered with water-soluble fertilizers, fish emulsion, other organic fertilizers. And just mix in. I threw some peat moss over here before I started the video. Mix in the peat moss. And that really sets it up. Those tomatoes are going to go in the ground. So I seed started 3 cucumbers in a cup. The whole trick to cucumbers and actually zucchini and squash is after they germinate in the cups, you want to get them into the ground within 3 weeks, or they're going to become bonsai plants. They're going to just stay too small. You can see the root systems taking over. Gently scratch them. They don't like it that much, but you're just going to get them going in a different direction. And then drop them in just about to here, just about level to where they were in the cup. Alright, and then press them in. Water them in with a water-soluble organic fertilizer of your choice. In about a week, when these are established, I will keep probably just 1, maybe 2, the 2 strongest plants, and remove 1. You're also going to have to put a stake in here. I'll show you how to do that in another video. I'm going to get these tomatoes and peppers in the ground later. I'll show you how they did in the next installment. Let's get to spraying. You really want to make sure you treat your tomatoes and your other plants for disease before those diseases arrive. I recommend just getting a simple 1-gallon sprayer. This is actually baking soda and milk. I'm working with milk to see how it works as an antifungal. I don't have a recipe to talk about yet, but basically baking soda, 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. I'm going to put that on my peppers and my tomatoes. Always test spray before you use a new spray. Spray a couple of leaves, wait 48 hours, see if there's any damage. But let's get to spraying. Now the whole key to spraying your garden is to really start 2 to 4 weeks before the diseases come into your area. And if you're just starting, you're not going to know that. But keep a log, keep track of what comes into your area. Again, I'm using a baking soda spray, and you just want to soak the plant end completely. Undersides of the leaves, tops of the leaves, and just soak it down. Now you're going to do this every 7 to 14 days. It's going to vary based on how much rain you're getting. If you get a lot of rain, you're going to have to do it more often. Let's go over to this larger one, give you an example. And I just start up at the top. And just soak it down. Again, I'm added milk to this, but it's an experiment, so I don't want to give out the recipe yet till I know if it's effective in any way. But you're going to go through, soak down all your tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, squash. This is the best way to prevent a disease. Once you see it, sometimes it's a little bit hard to get rid of, and it's a challenge. Be very vigilant with your spraying. I recommend really putting it down on the calendar and just do it regularly. Don't mix sprays together. Try and spray in the morning or the evening. Don't spray in direct sunlight. And again, if you're ever, here's one I just put in, still spray that. If you're ever starting a new spray, don't go and spray your entire garden. Spray a couple of leaves, wait 48 hours, see if there's any damage. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel. We'll continue with this series in my community garden. Thanks for watching.